we all are coming from the same perspective, and it's all about being innovative. That's why we're here. So I think we're onto something good. But get through this little boring slide here, and I noticed Josh, he skipped his introduction slide. I'm not going to, because here's the deal. This is a man's world. That's the bottom line. So I want to give you guys a little bit of information about myself first. I just wanted to be a part of it. That's why I'm here. First of all, like I said, my name's Renee. I was born and raised in Ohio, and I grew up with aspirations of being a high school choir director. But after 3 years of work towards that Bachelor of Music Education, I quickly realized that it just wasn't going to work. I wanted to be on the golf course because it's what I loved. And that's why we're all here, isn't it? I certainly hope it is. We love our jobs, and so we're here trying to better ourselves. Like he said, I graduated from Ohio State with a turfgrass management degree and a certificate in commercial turf equipment. And I worked at the Catanzas Club in Marion, Massachusetts. And then after graduation, I took a crew position at Firestone. I was lucky enough to be able to get in there and worked, and was promoted to the assistant superintendent position, and 3 years later, here I am. So I guess that's enough about me. Let's get to the deal here. First point, they don't teach this stuff in school. You learn a lot in school, but you don't learn it all. And isn't that the case for so many aspects of our business? We learn on the job. It's not only about the chemicals, or the mowers, or the grass cultivars, but it's the people. We learn about people when we are faced with dealing with them on a daily basis. And even though we are all different, we come from different parts of the country, we deal with different pest problems, different disease problems, different everything. The one thing that binds us all is that we work with people. Josh hit it right on the head. He said, this is what it's all about. It's all about the people you work with. And that's true. And whether it's just you and one other person on your crew, because your facility is small, or in my case, where it's me and 75 other people, we all face the daily task of that human interaction. Now, this, by default, is a very subjective topic because we all have different situations that we're dealing with. But most of my experience has been drawn from Firestone, and it's a unique one at that. It's 54 holes of private golf, along with 9 holes of public golf, and I'm the only female supervisor in our department, and one of only 4 female employees in the entire department. And ages of both genders range from 19 years old to 80. So it's quite a wide span. Now, I try to remind myself of something every day. And before I throw up a couple more images there, I want to say something. Growing up, I played team sports. I sang in various choirs and groups. And I played music in different size bands, orchestras, the whole deal. Now, that team experience brought me to the answer to an assignment that I had in turf school. Sure, many of you, if not all of you, were assigned to come up with your management philosophy, your mantra, if you will. What do you want to live by? How do you want to operate? Mine came out to be 3 words. So I was given this assignment at school, and even though I wrote these 3 words down when I was still in school, feels like it was a long time ago, but it really wasn't. I still believe in them, and I still try to live by them every day. Fairness. I don't care if you're 19 or 90. Man, woman, doesn't matter. We all want to be treated fairly, given that equal shot, whatever it may be. We all want to be given that fair chance to prove ourselves or display a skill. So that's the first point that I try to remember every day. Firmness. This word comes into play all the time. You have to stick to your guns. You have your position at your facility for a reason, and I have mine for a given reason. We've all displayed some ability or some way to get the job done, whatever that may be. We're all being constantly pushed to do more with less. I think that's something that everybody faces. And being firm in our decisions, directions, instructions, whatever it is you're dealing with, if you're firm, I think it displays quality leadership and great confidence. The third word is compassion. Now, despite all of the fairness and firmness that we can offer and display, there will be fallouts or other issues to deal with on your crew. Having compassion for people on your crew, off your crew, other members of the club staff, it doesn't matter. It will enhance the human connection that you have and make you more trustworthy on many levels. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go soft, because that's not the message here. The message here is to keep in mind that we all are trying to just make it in this crazy stinking world. We all are trying to make a living and be happy. And if you try and keep in mind that if you need to have compassion, it makes it a little bit easier. Some people have told me that having compassion shows that I'm just a girl, letting my soft side show, you know, oh, she's just softy, she's a little girl, you know. I totally disagree. I feel that it shows that I'm a well-rounded human, and that I understand that we all have issues outside of the workplace. We try and leave them at the door when we come in. And like I said, in the end, we're all trying to accomplish the same goal: make a living and be happy. Now, it's not that I'm not passionate about charging forward in the workplace and getting it done, but an individual can only be pushed so far until he or she needs a breaking point, and they'll no longer work for you. You've got to have people willing to work for you, and having compassion puts you on the road to that. I believe that it's a complementary characteristic to this, leading by example. Now, this can mean a variety of things, not just in the field. Sure, mowing greens properly, staying on task, being efficient. These are all ways to display how you want things to operate at your facility. But there's a lot of time that we spend talking to our crews or other employees. Displaying positive interactions with our employees is a great way to set the tone. Now, that phrase, I've heard it thrown around a lot in my short career so far in this industry. It's all about setting the tone. And when you think about it, who's in charge of that? Who sets the tone? Well, it starts with you. It starts at the top. You're the one that has to set the pace. You set the tone for your place. Now, here we go. Down to the cold, hard facts. We all know it's coming. Just gonna get it out there. Women are different than men. Bottom line. Who knew? It's crazy, you know? I like chocolate. I like it. You know what you got? So, I'm gonna just elaborate on this a little bit. Having said that, I speak from a woman's point of view and say that though we are very different in so very many ways, we don't want to be treated differently. For example, there's a big difference in speaking to a woman about a job task rather than speaking to a man about it, whether you realize it or not. It's not that you can't stand up and give out orders to women forcefully or however you normally would. No one's asking you to change that because we'll listen, absolutely. And we'll do the job assigned because it's work. And if the employee is a good one, man or a woman, the job will get done. But by doing so in a manner that is maybe aggressive or in a harsh tone, you may not get the results you want. It may take a little while to get there. So here's the dish. As if most of you already didn't know, I'm sure a lot of you have wives. Women are inherently more sensitive than men, more in tune with our emotions. It's just a fact of life. I deal with it every single day. Whether or not we try to avoid it, it happens. We internalize everything, and we mull it over in some way. There's no stopping it. Absolutely not. So a lot of times when dealing with female employees, it's beneficial to take things into consideration, such as tone of voice, word choice. And once again, I'm not saying go soft. Absolutely not. You have to stick to your guns. Remember that whole firmness thing I mentioned. But if you bring some of that compassion into play, change can go a long way. Things can be good. But it goes both ways. Women in this industry have to put up a bit of a bring it on attitude, as I like to call it. Now, I'm not saying that hiring or having female employees, you're going to get attitude all the time. But if a woman is trying to get into this industry in some fashion, especially as a manager or a supervisor, she knows what to expect. She's not coming in blind. And she'll probably have already in place ways to relate to fellow crew members or colleagues. And whether that's talking about things that are stereotypically men topics, if you will, or just being someone who tries to relate to across the board to everybody. By the nature of this business, it's dirty, it's messy, it's sweaty, it's hard work. But in the end, women are just as much up to the task as men, but they may just have to be taken down a road that's a little bit different than the one you're used to get to the end result that you're looking for. Now, you're only as old as you feel. And the next point I want to make, what happens when you are one of the youngest in the crowd? Are you automatically viewed as being behind from just being a youngster? I've been called that a lot. Hey kid, hey youngster. Okay, thanks guys. Yeah. This goes out to the folks that are kind of fall in that 35 and under category. I think most assistants fall into this age group, and you are the ones being impacted by this mentality. According to the GCSAA, 44% of all professional members are in their 20s and 30s. 44%. That number blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. We talked about job market saturation. There you go. This means if you're one of these people, you probably have individuals working for you that are older than you. And how do you face it? And how do you deal with the gaps in understanding from one another, from generation to generation? Well, I deal with it by listening. There's a huge difference between listening to someone and hearing that person speak. In fact, some of you may have already tuned me out. I don't know. You might be hearing but not listening. Your prerogative. Now, it sounds corny, but you're never too old to respect your elders. It's a simple detail in life that is totally and 100% true. People who are older than you, they've had more life experience, and they just may have something to say that's of value and quality that we can use, either as an idea on the course, around the shop, or just as a piece of sage life advice. That being said, on a kind of a personal note here, I work on a daily basis with a gentleman who's 74 years old. He still lifts the water coolers and puts them in the huts. I mean, he's a beast. 80-pound water coolers, he's like, oh, here we go, boom. He mows greens for us. He's a great guy. Almost every day we talk about something. He's out there on the golf course, he's fit, he's in shape, he's got a sharp mind. And he often reminds me that in the hectic pace that we keep, to stick to my guns. I have a tendency sometimes to rattle myself. There's a lot that happens at Firestone. A lot. It's busy. It's super busy. And I can sometimes get myself started to be lost in that jumble. He's one of these people that he reminds me, hey, settle down. You're all right. Stick to your guns. Do your thing. You know what you're doing. And that's a normal and appropriate interaction for the two of us. But be careful how you kind of take that advice. Make sure that, you know, if you're talking to somebody who's older than you are, make sure it's an appropriate topic of conversation. Make sure it's applicable. I try and keep that in mind. But the end thing is that listening to people who are older than you, it's taught me many things, not only about turf, but how to walk through life as a better person. So once again, it's a two-way street. And I realize I'm going to be running out of time. I got to keep talking. We all had someone in our group of people that helped us to become the person we are today. Part of the reason I wanted to be a teacher when I first got out of high school was to help the next generation of kids grow up to be awesome people and to help shape them into well-rounded individuals. And I had a really great role model as a high school choir director. I wanted to be like her. But even though we're not in front of the classroom every day, we still have the opportunity to affect those that are younger than us. Many of us hire college-aged individuals, men and women, who view getting up and going to the golf course as just a summer job. And they may not be the most punctual or detail-oriented, but we have a chance to instill a sense of pride and community and respect in these people. Talking with a 22-year-old at work is drastically different than speaking with that 74-year-old I mentioned. We wear many different hats as superintendents and assistants, and even though explaining a task or a job will result in the same end product, we have to approach different people with a different hat on and be what they need at the moment. We need to be relatable, available, and understandable. And this may mean taking 2 minutes to ask about a presentation that one of your workers had in his college English class. Or even asking about his or her fantasy football league, which, by the way, guys, I still don't understand. It's crazy. Whatever. Now, if it means that you've built a base of trust with somebody from an age group who normally defies authority or has little motivation for just a summer job, then in my opinion, it's absolutely worth it. So, kind of wrapping up here, whose side are you on? If you've done what you feel you need to do to establish a great working environment, the idea is that you're on no one's side, but everyone's on your side. You hopefully have built that bridge across age and gender gaps, and you've given people a level playing field to work for you. Eliminating differences amongst others by adapting yourself, you become authority that's available and understandable. As a leader, it's our goals that need to be met. You choose how to get there. And we're certainly not everyone's friend at work, nor should we be, but we should be an ally. We have a common goal to achieve, and we need to work together to get there. Just to kind of wrap it up, be an ally, be supportive, be firm, fair, and compassionate. And I guess that's it. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and I hope that someday, someone took something away. And I wanted to say special, because I had a few facts in there. Special thanks to Karen Cooper, Mark Gore, Larry Poor, and R. Scott Woodhead for some of those statistics from GCSA. And I guess we'll do questions later or now.
If there are questions, just stop.
Anybody? Bueller.